Alright, so MCU Phase 4 slate. That was what was announced at Comic-Con a few hours ago, so let's talk about it. No fancy editing, just basic. I'm just gonna give you my thoughts and reactions on MCU Phase 4 because why the hell not? I will say, however, that I am working on two new videos, one that's X-Men related and another is the 500 sub special. Hopefully both will be out within this month, but let's get talking about MCU Phase 4 stuff. Time codes in the description. Okay, so let's start with, I'm going to try and go in order here. So we got Black Widow, which is coming out in next year in May. So I think this might be the longest gap between MCU films we've had in a while, since maybe, back in Phase 2 when we were only doing two MCU films a year. So we're going back to a year now, which I think is fine because we got the Disney Plus shows now to fill in the gap, sort of. So it's been confirmed it's set in between Civil War and Infinity War, so that's interesting. So we're not undoing Black Widow's death from, oh yeah, spoilers for Endgame, but come on, you're not seriously looking up Phase 4 info when you haven't seen Endgame, let's be honest. I'll probably put a spoiler thing at the start just in case, but anyway, so it's set in between Civil War and Infinity War, so there's like a good 2-year time gap there, so there's stuff to do. Taskmaster's going to be in it, so that sounds really cool. Apparently they showed some footage off at Comic-Con of a fight scene between the two, and apparently it's Jason Bourne-esque but not as shaky cam, so that sounds good. I'm up for some hand-to-hand stuff. This might be the last Scarlett Johansson film for Black Widow 2, so, I mean, better late than ever, but it sounds exciting. I'm up for it. Then we got, at the end of 2020, we got Eternals. So I know nothing about the Eternals, but it's got a solid cast. Angelina Jolie's in it. And it's more Marvel cosmic stuff, which I think is good. We should start to branch off into outer space a bit more, because we've really only got the Guardians films, and Thor Ragnarok was like half there with all the stuff on Sakaar. But I say, go for it. Let's do more weird cosmic stuff. Let's get experimental with all of this. And then we've got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And so I screamed when I saw the title, Legend of the Ten Rings. They're finally doing the real Mandarin. This was always kind of a pipe dream for me, at least, because I remember after Iron Man 3, and I'm not someone who hates Iron Man 3 or that depiction of the Mandarin, but after they sort of did that like retcon with the All Hail the King one-shot, I was sort of like, okay, so they've thrown a bone to the fans. They've said the real Mandarin is out there somewhere, but I always was like, yeah, but we're never going to see him. It's there to please those people who are really angry, and that's it. But now, here we are, 2 phases later, we're getting the real Mandarin. We're getting 10 magic rings. Or alien rings, technically. Holy shit. Alright, let's do it. Let's go, 10 rings. Martial arts film, and everything. That sounds so cool. The only thing I'm kind of sad about is that we never got to see Iron Man fight the real Mandarin, because, they teased the 10 rings here and there in the Iron Man film, so I think it's disappointing that we never got to see Tony Stark fight the Mandarin, but now we'll look a gift horse in the mouth. Oh, here's one thing, they're not going to do it, but I think it'd be really funny if they brought Ben Kingsley back to play Trevor Slattery as like a prisoner of the Mandarin, and every once in a while the movie just cuts back to him, who's like just commenting about everything that's happening in the film. I think that would be really funny. They're not going to do that, but that's just my wish. And then we've got oh, by the way, I'm going to do the movies first and then do the shows at the end. So then we've got in 2021, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm just loving some of the titles. Like they're just going comic book cheesy with these titles, and I love it. So this is apparently going to be like a horror-styled PG-13 movie, which is interesting. That's what I like. We're going a bit more experimental with these films. This might be the first horror movie I see in a theater, because I get scared really easily, so I don't watch horror movies. But best of all, we've got Scarlet Witch as a supporting player. I remember people really wanted this, and I always thought to myself, I don't know, because she's not exactly, her powers are kind of magical, but you know what I mean? It's more like, that's close enough though, right? But I didn't actually expect that to happen, but I'm actually quite happy. I think they should get some of the lesser known heroes, who don't really have their own films, and get them into other people's films to get a bit more exposure. So I'm happy to see Scarlet Witch back in a Doctor Strange movie. And Multiverse of Madness, that sounds insane. Is this going to be like a trip through the multiverse or something, and it just gets really trippy? Just go all trippy with it, is what I say. Take the quantum realm scene and the Mysterio illusion scene and the Doctor Strange trip scene, just put it all together, crank it up to 100, just do a whole movie of that. That's what I want to see. Just go crazy with it. So I'm guessing as well that Nightmare is probably going to be the villain of the movie, because I can't really see this being a movie where Mordo takes center stage as the villain. I do hope he does come back though. They set him up really well in Doctor Strange 1. I want him to come back. Thor, Love and Thunder. So freaking Natalie Portman's back. I thought she was done with these movies. I thought she didn't like being in them. How did they coerce her back? Like, I'm happy, do female Thor and bring back Valkyrie and go weird and cosmic with it. I just love the title, Love and Thunder. Like, it's just so comic book cheese, and that's what I have to say about this slate. It's silly and weird, and I just love it. Embrace that weird. Just do it, Marvel. And so, I think Tessa Thompson said too that they're going to explore Valkyrie's bisexuality in the film. So there's that too. Well, there's going to be a lot of obsessive fanboy tears over some of these films. It's a very diverse slate. But then again, they said Captain Marvel was going to flop. What did they say? Go woke, get broke or something? And then Captain Marvel made over $1 billion? Yeah. Yeah. So that's a bit away though, because I think... So Shang-Chi is May 2021, and then Thor is November 2021. So there's a bit of a gap, I think, and then the shows are going to fill in the gaps. And then the surprise announcement, we're doing a Blade movie. That came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone was suspecting that. I sure wasn't. And they got Ali to play Blade. I've heard some people say, like, this is just proof that the Netflix shows aren't canon to the main MCU films. I disagree. I feel like you can double cast, and it's fine. He was only Cottonmouth for, like, the first half of Luke Cage. I haven't fully seen Luke Cage. I really need to go back and finish all the Netflix shows. I'll only believe the Netflix shows aren't canon when someone other than Charlie Cox shows up as Daredevil in one of the movies. Only then will I believe the Netflix shows aren't canon. I think for now they're kind of separate, but they're linked just enough that I can still buy it even with actors playing dual roles. Totally cool with it. So that's cool. Got vampires now. Nice. I know some people are a bit iffy, like whether it'll be R-rated or not. I think with the right story, you can still pull Blade off and not have it be hard R stuff. That's just me, though. We'll see, I guess. Alright, and so let's talk about the TV shows now. So first of all, we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So the logo to me with the sort of the cap shield in it confirms to me that the series is going to be about Falcon coming to terms of being the new Captain America. And I think the reason it's called Falcon still is that he doesn't become Captain America until the end of the show, I'm assuming. And Daniel Bruhl is confirmed to be back as Zemo, which I'm really happy about. Excuse me. Because he's, in my opinion, a really underappreciated Marvel villain, but I thought he was great in Civil War, and I'm glad they're gonna try and give him the comic accurate costume. That sounds interesting. And so the only thing I'm a bit iffy on is that, it's the Winter Soldier part, because he's not really the Winter Soldier anymore. They gave him the White Wolf code name, so why is he still called that? But that, but maybe like the show is still partially about him trying to get over all the stuff he did as the Winter Soldier. So I can buy it for now. I do really like the new logo though. I just love the part with the cap shield. That looks very good, and that's scheduled to be released fall 2020. So all right, and then the next show is WandaVision. Now this is interesting because apparently Doctor Strange's movie is going to tie into this somehow. So I'm guessing WandaVision ends with her, I don't know, deciding to go to the Sanctum, be Doctor Strange's apprentice. I'm not sure. I'm still fascinated with how WandaVision is going to play out in regards to Vision because he's dead, right? Nothing in Endgame suggested he'd be back, so I'm interested in seeing how he's going to be alive again. But I also am really excited because they're taking inspiration from was it the 2016 Vision run? I'm not sure which one, but the one where Vision he tries to start a suburban family and then everything goes to hell, which was it was a phenomenal 12-issue run. If you haven't read it, please read it because it was so good. It was so good, and I love it that they're taking inspiration from that because it was different and it was just mwah, so good. So that's spring 2021, and then we've got the Loki series dropping on Disney Plus. Not too sold on the logo. I get what they're going for. It's just the weird mismatch isn't that appealing in my mind. That being said, it's just a logo, so who really cares? I think they confirmed it, though, that, yeah, it starts from when Loki escapes with the Tesseract from Endgame, so it is alternate timeline Loki. Actually, that brings me back to one thought. I think it's going to be weird that the final Thor film doesn't have Loki in it. I think it would be neat if, like, I remember someone suggesting something like have Loki be like an hallucination Thor keeps having. I think that could be fun. Because I feel like it's weird that the Thor movie wraps up without Loki in any shape or form. I know I'm not one of those people who's angry that Loki's dead in the main universe. I think his death at the start of Infinity War was great and was a good way to close the character. That being said, I still think it'd be nice if he somehow had a role to play in the final Thor movie. And then there's the What If series, the animated What If series. I'm up for this. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do with the animation, and it'll be nice to have the characters come back. I mean, the actors come back to voice their animated counterparts. And then there's the Hawkeye series, which is apparently taking inspiration from a certain Hawkeye run that was apparently really good. I haven't read it. That being said, I have faith in Marvel. They're pretty good at this point. And I think that's everything. So just some general thoughts. I mean, that was a lot of just me sort of gushing over everything. But, I mean, what can I say? I love the MCU. I think the most interesting thing coming out of it is, of course, at the end they quickly, before they announced Blade, the surprise Blade announcement, Feige was like, but yeah, we didn't have time to talk about it, but we're doing Captain Marvel 2 and Black Panther 2 and Guardians 3. And there is going to be Fantastic Four. And mutants will happen eventually. They sort of said that stuff really quickly at the end. I've heard some people say they're going to announce some more at D23, which is next month, I think. Which sounds about right. This only goes up to 2021. So maybe this is like the first half of Phase 4, and then they're going to announce the second half at D23. Which is, I'm all up for that, splitting it up. Blade was the big surprise. I don't think anyone saw that coming. But I'm happy we're going to do that. It's an interesting slate because Black Widow is sort of the only, not including the shows, in regards to the films, Black Widow is the only one sort of more tied to older MCU stuff. Everything else, Eternals is completely new. Shang-Chi is completely new. Oh, and Thor. Sorry, sorry, and Thor, but then you've got, Eternals, Shang-Chi, that's all different. And then here's what I'm hoping for Thor Love and Thunder, that it just goes completely off the walls with it. Because my problem with Ragnarok was it felt like a Taika Waititi movie, still sort of trapped within the confines of the last two Thor movies. I'm also happy they're bringing Jane Foster back because I really didn't like how they kind of just hand waved it off with like a line of dialogue in Ragnarok. Oh, we broke up, and it's like, but she was so important in the first two movies. You can't just do the we broke up off screen thing. It feels cheap. So I'm glad they're bringing her back. I still don't know how they got her back. Because I could have sworn she really didn't like being in these movies, right? And that's why they were so eager to sort of just write her out in Ragnarok. And now they're bringing her back to be the new Thor. I mean, good. That sounds happy, but how the hell did they just did Disney just dump a bucket of money in front of her and be like, come on, come back, come on. So yeah, I'm excited. Even for the stuff where I have like I know nothing about it, like Eternals. I'm like, it's Marvel. I'm on board. Go for it. I'm excited to see Black Widow finally get a movie. As I said, they got the Mandarin for Shang-Chi. Thor 4. It's going to be good. We'll talk about those other MCU films that might come out with D23 later. This is Groovy. That's all for now. Hope you enjoyed me rambling about MCU Phase 4. It's looking good.